Welcome to the Wonder Woman of Aviation podcast. We're here live at Dover Air Force Base, and I ran into a wonderful woman named Sabrina Kipp. Sabrina is a flight instructor, and she's also a pilot for one of these amazing B-25 aircraft. She's going to talk a little bit more about the aircraft, a little bit about herself, and we're just going to have fun. So Sabrina, thank you for doing this interview with me. I know it's kind of on the fly. That's how I run. Can you tell me a little bit more about this B-25 Mitchell aircraft?
Okay, this particular aircraft came out of the factory in October 44. It was late in the war. The time it was fitted out in 45, so it never saw any action. This aircraft then went into service as a training aircraft, a multi-engine trainer for the Air Force.
Okay.
It stayed in the service until the late 50s through the National Guard units, and then it was decommissioned, picked up by firefighters out west. They did that for a few years, and then after that, this aircraft went to Florida as a crop duster, and then it was donated to a museum in Florida, where it was eventually restored by Tom Riley, who's done multiple Warbird restorations. And the owner here has had this airplane since 1997. He's over 25 years now, and he's probably one of the highest time B-25 pilots in the industry. So,
wow, how many B-25s are out there?
Well, that's hard to say. How many are airworthy and still flying? We estimate worldwide maybe 30, a little over 30. Not that many fly that often because of the cost. There are several in restoration right now, so we hope to see more coming out in the next couple of years.
And I know you said there's several in restoration, so how much, typically, how much is involved to keep this aircraft flying, airworthy? I'm sure it takes a lot of time, energy, and money.
It takes a lot of time and energy. That's why we're at the shows. It's why we have a couple of programs to help raise money. One is our flight training program, where we have pilots sign up to actually learn to fly a B-25. We also offer rides at different events, and that helps raise some money. And other than that, donations. All the work is done by volunteers at the hangar. We all volunteer our time to help keep it airworthy, but it's a lot of maintenance, probably 20 or 50 hours per every hour we fly. So in the wintertime, we take the airplane down completely and do a lot of checks and maintenance schedules and to get it ready for this season. So.
Wow. Now, I was reading a little bit that you were you certified in this aircraft in 2017, so that was not too long ago, right?
No, it wasn't too long ago. I came on, I was actually the first person to go through the training program in 2015. They were gracious enough to ask me to come back. I started on the ground crew because I figured that's a great way to learn the airplane, and then eventually worked my way up to flying the airplane with the owner and the other pilots. I actually was able to get my full type, pilot command type rating in 2017. So yeah, that's just only about 4 or 5 years ago. So.
Oh, wow. And how long have you been flying?
Flying total, I've been over 45 years.
Okay.
So I learned in college, went through the general aviation, different jobs, and I spent over 36 years flying different airlines.
Okay, so you're an airline.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm recently retired airline pilot, so that paid for my choice. So
absolutely, yeah. We always have to have our passion and our jobs.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, thank you for keeping this aircraft alive. I do want to ask one last question. Panchito, I was reading a little bit about Disney. I know Disney was heavily involved back in the day, also with the Women Air Force Service pilots. They did Fifinella. So, do you know the story about Panchito? Why is he or she named Panchito?
Okay, the original Panchito served in the Okinawa Pacific War. This aircraft was destroyed in the 80s. The initial owners were oilmen in Texas, and we believe they named it Panchito because their ministers or their pastor served on Panchito in Okinawa. But the original Panchito in the Disney cartoons, one of the three caballeros.
Yeah.
So you saw on the other side Don Seiler. Don Seiler was the commander of the original Panchito in Okinawa.
Okay.
So he was sent to Hawaii to pick up his new airplane. He and another pilot saw the cartoon.
Yeah.
So the other pilot named his Karaoke Joe, and he named this one Panchito. So, and Larry's always kept the Panchito name. It has quite a history to it.
Right. I love it. So they're part of a dynamic duo, it sounds like. Panchito and what was the other one again?
Carrot Joe and Daffy Duck with the three caballeros,
See, look at that, the three caballeros. And Panchito.
Panchito, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Disney did some amazing things. There's so much history behind not only Warbirds, but Disney and aviation in general. So I wanted to thank you for, taking the time to speak with me, keeping this part of history alive. Where can people find if they want to see Panchito, donate, help keep this history alive? Where can they go?
Okay, they can go to our website, DelawareAviationMuseum.org.
Okay.
And everything on there are events. There's phone numbers for coming in for tours. There's phone numbers for signing up for rides, and also email links if they're interested in the flight training program.
Awesome. And one last question. What is the common question you get about this aircraft? Like, what's the go-to or the main thing people ask? Like, fun fact or question?
Oh, wow, that's kind of tough. How did it get here?
Okay, all right, that's a common one?
That's a common one. Actually, a lot of them are questions you asked. How old is it? And did it serve in the war? And we just tell the history of the airplane. So
awesome. Yeah, I'm always looking for like fun facts or how can we associate. Is there a fun fact with this aircraft?
They don't know some of the history. Is this the same type of airplane Doolittle used?
Okay.
If they know the history. So we get a lot of questions with the history relation to the B-25.
Okay. And this isn't the same aircraft Doolittle used?
No. Well, he used a B-25, but he used an earlier version of this.
Okay.
So,
well, there you go. Fun fact.
Fun fact, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Wonder Women of Aviation. I hope to see you at future events. I always see this aircraft. I have so many pictures of this. I'm like, I have to get an interview. Yeah. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for your podcast and trying to promote women in aviation.
Absolutely. I'm like, there's a woman. I'm going to go talk to her. So awesome. Well, you're going to fly in a little bit. So thank you. I'm going to let you prep. I took some awesome pictures of you. I'm going to post them. And for those of you that are following, definitely donate. Keep this piece of history alive. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, I love this air.